Good morning to all my chilly Minnesotans. We went from 90 and humid to 50 and rainy and cold. Funny thing, or maybe not so funny, our furnace went out the end of the season, so we just kind of heated the house with little heaters and stuff. But my husband took the old fuel tank out of the basement because we're getting a new furnace put in, right? So we're on the list, but not till fall. So I'm back in my flannels and cuddling up in my blankets at night. But yeah, and I apologize if you can see a mess back here. I am planning for a trip to see my daughter in Colorado, and I'm hoping to take a backpacking trip as well. So I have all of my backpacking gear all lined up over here. Boy, that was an adventure trying to get into the bear canister. I had to order a bear vault because when you go in the back country, you can't just leave your food out because the bears will come for you. Yeah, I couldn't get in the bear vault. I had to watch like 3 different YouTube videos. Discovered I have to bring a credit card with me on my backpacking trip. I can't swipe it, but I can put it in the bear canister and use it to open the thing. Yeah. Anyway, I tell you, this is just first world problems, right? Anyway, I was thinking about my devotional that I wanted to share, and I actually wrote this one maybe a week or so ago, and I just haven't gotten around to sharing it with y'all. But I titled it "Joy Because Disappointment Sucks." And the last couple weeks has been kind of a little bit more of an interesting time for me, like work-wise, a little more stress, little things going on. And let's just be real. People sometimes are just really disappointing. So I have found myself disappointed more often in the recent past. And, why is this? Are my expectations too high of myself, of others? Why am I spending time being disappointed? Real great questions, right? People have always been people. They haven't stopped peopling. Have I lost touch with how this works? We sin, we fall down on our faces, we pick ourselves back up. That's how this works, right? I do, you do. People let themselves down. They let me down. They let other people down. Like, it's just a whole thing. But it's a heaviness that I feel. My brain says that I hurt for them. I mean, they look like they're hurting. I empathize for them, if that's what we want to call it. But this function of disappointment, what does it serve? Except to make you feel crummy. I don't know. I think we're going to need more coffee for this. So if I tell people or I show them, by my actions or whatever, how disappointed I am with whatever, is my goal to guilt them or shame them so that they feel something? What's the point of that? What purpose does it serve? They don't answer to me. That's between them and God, really. But this heaviness I feel, that was kind of the thing I was focusing on. Is that actually a godly reaction? Does it help me respond in a more godly, Christ-like manner? I mean, maybe. What is heaviness? If you look at stories from the Bible, you'll see that there's a lot of heaviness in there. Does this heaviness show that I have the presence of God in my life? Jesus and his prophets, they many times in the Bible appear to feel heavy about events that were unfolding around them. Even Jesus ran to his father, right? Daddy, daddy, help me. That's heaviness, right? I was listening to a song that I found on Spotify. It's called He Is by Anthem Worship. And of course, I added to my playlist because it was really great. Here's just a short little excerpt from it, from verse 1 in the chorus. It goes, "I'm not telling you anything you've not heard before, and it don't make it hurt any less when your heart's on the floor. So I'll stick to the truth that I know it's gonna matter most. I'll sing it till you believe it deep down in your soul. When you're not strong enough, he is. When you're not able to, he is. When you're not brave enough and want to quit, breathe deep, remember, he is." Disappointment, heaviness. This is not going to stop until God comes and make things right. Basically, humans suck, and it will be that way until it isn't. Until God comes down and changes things all over to his way, and then it will stop sucking. So, can I be less disappointed? Can I choose to find joy in situations that are sucking up in my corner of the world today? I mean, the scripture has quite a bit to say. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God gave us a spirit not of fear, but of power, love, and self-control." Psalm 73:26, "My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Philippians 4:13, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." 2 Corinthians 12:9, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me." Romans 8:26, "Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what to pray for as we ought, but the Spirit himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words." 2 Corinthians 12:10, "For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weakness, insults, hardship, persecution, and calamities, for when I am weak, then I am strong." Makes no sense, right? There seems to be a lot of talk about weakness in these versions, in the verses rather. It's almost like it was expected. These writers also state that the Spirit helps us and that Christ can make us content and that his grace is enough and that there's power for us to tap into. That Christ does not expect us to find contentment on our own. It's almost like it wasn't built into our gene pool. Well, it was originally, but then we hopped out of that gene pool, Disappointment and contentment don't really vibe together. Disappointment kind of has to diminish for contentment to grow. They don't grow in the same spaces. I must decrease, he must increase. John talked about that in his 3rd chapter. It's verse 30. Is this something like managing my expectations? Of course, I Googled this, right? This is what it has to say about managing your expectations. Identify your expectations, reflect on what you expect from yourself and others in various areas of your life, such as relationships, works, personal goal, that kind of stuff. Set realistic expectations, adjust your expectations to align with reality, avoiding unrealistic goals that can lead to disappointment. Communicate clearly, be open and honest about your expectations, and communicate them effectively to avoid misunderstandings. Be flexible. Adapt your expectations to changing circumstances and be willing to adjust them as necessary. Last one, practice self-compassion. Give yourself grace and support when you make mistakes and focus on what you have rather than what you want. I mean, when you think about strategies like those, they seem like they grow a more positive outlook. And your attitude will probably be in a better space, healthier space, fewer disappointments, and more fulfillment, right? Because you've managed what your expectations should be. I do think I need to be realistic, about what I expect out of people. I don't have to limit my expectations when I'm considering what God can do, because he doesn't have to manage his expectations, and I don't have to manage my expectations in relationship to what his options are. Like, he can do anything, unlike me. So everything I've read states that I need to ground my expectations in reality. But what if the only part of my reality that doesn't change is God? And if God's reality is my reality, then literally the options are limitless, right? Obviously, when I think about my strength, there's a limit there. But when I think about God's strength, there's no limit. So managing my expectations changes when I consider what God can do and I factor him into this. So if that's the only real thing, if he's the only reality, the only one I can reasonably have expectations with, and the only one I can never be disappointed with, then can we really be stuck in the heavy when we don't have expectations from anyone but God? Is this possible? Is it even possible? I mean, I have felt disappointment over my life so many times over the years. I'm 50 plus now, and I felt disappointment a lot. And I can tell you that when I laid it down in front of God, he has always done something better with it than what my hopes actually were. Like what I had planned, I thought was great. But when I laid it down in front of him because it wasn't happening the way I wanted anyways, what he did was so much greater. I have a whole story that just came out of my new book. It's called Alive. It's on Amazon. That shares with you kind of like the hell I went through and how he met me every single time, every single space. God was so good. Even though what I went through was really rough at a lot of times, he brought me into a place where I would never want to give up. Like what I have now, where I've grown into, the people I have around me, the spaces that I am allowed to go into, I would never want to give that up. So if my past journey needed to be what it was so that I became the person that I am now, I would like to say I would not give that up. I would do all that hell over again so that God could do what he's done with me. That's tough because there was a lot of really bad stuff in my life. A lot of fear and heartbreak and bitterness and all that stuff. Read my book. But can God's Spirit be alive in me every single day? Like if my focus is on what God can do versus what's wrong in my space, can I have the peace that God offers as a regular diet? Like, can contentment flood me? Contentment be my normal? Really? Can that be the case? All you have to do is ask and have the expectations of him and no one else, because you're going to fail you. People are going to fail you. But when you change your expectations from what you expect of yourself to expecting that God is going to meet you and he's going to do what he knows is best, then disappointment is out on the back porch. Because when my way doesn't work, I trust him that he has got something better coming down the road. So think about that today. Less disappointment, more contentment. He's got you.